Hello, welcome to a video on the MoneyLedgers bookkeeping software for small business. In this video, we're going to take a look at the program and how it can work with your small business. And before we do that, let's just take a look at the website and then we'll get straight into the software. And my name is Steve, by the way, and founder and owner of the program. And thanks for stopping by and watching this. All right, on the website, you're going to notice that we have various products, and the product we're going to look at today is the Small Business Ledger. And this is the web page we have in front of us right now. And as you scroll down, you're going to notice that there's free apps for the phone and tablet. There, you can import data from your online accounts, and the program is also compatible with any Mac or PC's computer. And if you scroll down a little further, you're going to notice there's 4 products to choose from. There's the basic and the expanded. And they come in either no tax versions, so that you're not wanting to track any sales tax, is what it's saying. Or you have versions that'll track 1 or 2 taxes, meaning sales taxes. So if you have a sales tax, or you have any kind of sales tax really that you have to track and remit to the government, or any input tax, this is what it's designed to do. And then on each of these products, there's a video which you're watching now. There's a free trial, and you can continue working with your data if you buy the program during your free trial, and you can buy it here as well and activate the free trial as a paid version, or just strictly buy it right away. These prices are not monthly or annual. This is a one-time purchase, and then you actually own the software. We don't rent software here, we just sell it to you. And the other thing to note is that there are basic and expanded versions, and there's one difference only. With the basic version, you're going to be able to produce one income and expense statement. And by the way, these all track business and personal income and expenses, so you can do all your personal stuff as well as your small business. But the expanded version allows you to have multiple income and expense statements. So you can track income and expenses for each project, or for each product, or for each truck or rental property, and so on, and plus give you an overall combined. So that is the one and only difference between basic and expanded. Now scrolling down further, you're going to see our free apps are available, and there's Android and iOS apps. And there's also videos on how to use these apps right here and how to set them up. And these apps are all being hosted within your own personal Dropbox, OneDrive, or Dropbox account. So there's no need to have a hosting fee of any kind for the software or for the apps. There's some FAQs, and we also have an FAQ page on our website and a blog, and certainly you can contact us with any questions. All right, so let's take a look at the software. Oh, here's our FAQ page, and now we're going to take a look at the software. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out of the way here so I can show you the program better. All right, so when you open the program up, you're going to notice there's open file, new file, or current file. And of course, the first time you run it, you're going to have to create a brand new bookkeeping file. So we're going to choose that. And of course, when you come back the next time, you can carry on with it by choosing open. And if you've tagged it as the current file, you're able to use current. And we'll show you how to tag a file. So anyway, let's go to new file. And we're using the tax version for demo purposes here. So in that case, we can choose, do you have 1 sales tax or 2 sales taxes to track? In this case, we'll choose 1. And we have our choice of file types. And so the file type will simply load up a different chart of accounts for you, so you can get up and running immediately if you like. And with the landlords, you can also track security deposits. So that's what these are set up to do. So let's go general business, which is a more generic chart of accounts for businesses. Okay, so here's your working screen. And on the right side, there's a few extra video links and so on to help you. But we can hide that and clean up the screen a bit. Now, really, if you want to just start making entries, you would hit that enter record button at the top. But it's saying, hey, before you do that, you have to save the file that we're creating. So let's do that first. So on the left side, you can see that you have a generic file name, but let's save it and give it a more descriptive name. Now you can save it in OneDrive, Google Drive, or Dropbox if you plan on syncing or using the apps or any other location on your computer. But let's just give it a file name. and you can do it for the year or any kind of description you would like, and choose save. And now you see the file name here. All file names end in ledger, so if you're ever looking for your file names, just remember to look for a file that ends in .ledger. Okay, so now let's enter a record. And now we just follow the prompts. The red dots show the fields that are mandatory. So let's say we enter in date. Which account is it impacting? Let's say it's Visa. And now as far as class goes, if you have the basic version of the program, you're going to see the options general, business, split, or personal. But if you have the expanded version of the software, you can choose also from any other subclass that you can create in the setup screen. So this is using the expanded version of the software because you're getting the bottom two choices here. And you can name those and create as many of those as you like in the expanded version. But anyway, let's just go with something simple. General business expense. It's going to be, let's say, for your a bank charge. And let's say this is a monthly fee. Put in the description field. And let's say it's $3.50. And let's say there's no tax on that, and if there is, you could choose it or even enter it manually. Now if there's a receipt to go with this entry, you can click on Receipt Manager, and now you can browse for a PDF on your computer drive if you've scanned it, or if you have a photograph of the item or receipt, you can browse that, or if you didn't have it digitized, you can scan it using your webcam or camera on your computer. Now I should mention here that on the free apps for your cell phone or tablet, the screen looks very similar, and it even gives you this receipt manager option. So you can simply use your phone app to make the entry and then take a picture of the receipt from a screen, something like this, and then it would attach itself to the computer, attach itself to the entry, I should say, and also sync to your computer as well. So it works out really well. You just have to watch the app video to see how that could work. Anyway, we're going to leave that alone, and we're going to submit this. And our entry is done. So there's your bookkeeping entry. And on the top, you can see there's three screen choices, the records, a report. So here we can see on the left side, the report for business, any taxes, and for also your personal stuff. On the left side, you can see a business only report with only your business categories as well as your numbers. And at the bottom, it gives you a reconciliation report. It gives you the activity on every account. And if you're tracking your taxes, it'll give you a little report and summary for your taxes that you're tracking. And there's also videos on how to do a simple reconciliation and as well. And basically all it involves is going to this rec column and choosing the X. Once the bank statement comes in or you've downloaded it and you want to reconcile against your bank statement, just choose the X. And then you've done your reconciliation, and the reconciliation report will show a blank once you're finished. And anyway, that's a real simple process, and you can see that in one of our FAQ videos. The other thing you can do is get a graph, and it can be column graphs or line graphs, and you can uncheck or check what it is that you want to look at on that graph. And you can also filter the records by, let's say, any month, any account, or class, or category. And when you do that, it dynamically filters out these records and also will update the reports and the graphs based on the filters that you're choosing in up above here. So you can see what's going on. It's fully dynamic. Okay, let's do another entry. This time we'll do an income entry. So let's say we have something affecting the savings account. It's general business, it's income, and we could say, business revenue, and whatever descriptor you want to put in there. And let's say it's $2,000, and we're tracking GST on that. Submit, and there you go. So we just keep going through and making entry by entry. You can also import entries here, and there's a video on how to do that. And you can process hundreds of entries in a matter of minutes if you use this import function properly, because it even comes with an auto editor, so it even will edit and process entries based on the criteria that you choose. You can export data to a spreadsheet file or as a PDF. You can also print out your reports as well. So there you go, and once you're done, remember to save your work. A couple more things I'll mention across the top. We have our file name. This is where you close the file. This is where you can tag that file as your current file. And we talked about that in the beginning of how you can choose something to be a current file. This is sync. Now be careful with this, because sync is really only used sparingly in the case of, let's say you left this file open on the computer like it is here. In the meantime, you've been out with your cell phone, or somebody's been using their cell phone to write entries into this same file. And so before you start working on this file, you want to make sure you have the most current version of that file loaded. You would just use sync to reload that file. But anyway, just use it in those cases. Otherwise, you just want to save your work, and no need to use sync. Okay, so that's on the right-hand side. I should mention that there's notes. If you want to write notes for yourself, you can do that. And this is a link to our FAQ page on our website over here. All right, so let's just take a look at the setup screen for a minute. In the setup screen, you choose your year, the month that your financial year starts. You can set up all your various accounts here. You can delete them, you can edit them, you can add more accounts. And same with your classes. You know, we talked about that. You can add more classes or change the name of those. There's your tax setup. There's an income category setup. So if you want to add even, let's say, something personal, like your personal salary, you can do that and then uncheck that box so that does not then show up on your business statement. So that's how you would do anything that's personal related, or you can even add anything you like there. The expense categories are very much the same. You can edit the names or add names as you like, and choose or unchoose which are going to show up on your business versus personal statement. Now, the other thing I mentioned to you is about the idea of entering an item as a split entry. So if you have a car that you're using part business, part personal, or you have office space and you're writing off a portion of your electric bill, for example, you can choose different splits, and then the program will do the math for you. So in this example, you know, we're using our car 80% business, 20% personal. So when you make a entry and you choose the split class, it'll do the math, and you can change these ratios at any time throughout the year, and it'll just keep you current. And anyway, you can, and the same with entertainment expenses. You know, many cases entertainment expenses are only 50% deductible, so you can set that up 50-50 and then choose the split class when you make that entry as well. Okay, and down at the bottom, you can set up pre-written descriptions, so you don't have to keep entering them manually every single time when you're making repetitive entries. The other thing is you can save changes when you're done, and then every year you're going to need a new bookkeeping file, but real easy to set up, and there's a video on this. You just simply will, once you've got this set up the way you like it, you export it as the setup screen data. And then in the new file that you create, you go up and choose new. You can then come into the setup screen and import exactly what it is that you just created as an export. So anyway, in a few minutes, you'll have a brand new bookkeeping file, and that's all explained in the FAQ page in a video. Let's close this up. All right, before we wrap up here, I'm just going to show you an example with a file that has more data in it, how some things can work here. And here's a bunch of data. And of course, on the left-hand side, you know, when there's a paper clip like that, it just shows that there's a receipt attached to the entry. So you can actually, you know, go and take a look at it anytime you want, and so on. And you can sort your data by clicking on the column heading. And you can you can filter your data just by using the filter like that. And when you do this, it automatically updates your report. So you can see how the numbers change based on the filter selection. And you can multi-layer these filters. So if I want to see what I've done in January on my Visa card, well, there you go. And you can see exactly what you've done there. It shows up in a report and on a graph. So just keep this in mind, because if you're making an entry, and you have let's say you have your January filter turned on, but you're making an entry for any other month except January, well, you won't see the entry right away because you're filtering it out. So if you want, just make sure the filters are either turned off or turned to the appropriate filter so that you see the entries as you make them. Not that they're not there, but it's just kind of nice to see it. Anyway, that's some of the functions there. And the other thing I was going to mention is that this little search magnifying glass here, it opens up a search bar at the bottom, and then you can start searching for anything that is in the description field. This is a wonderful way to produce reports or to find entries, and you can choose description or by total tax or net total. But let's say, for example, you've been tracking your gas, and each time you've been entering in the vendor number or some kind of descriptor, you can just type that here. Let's say it's SO, and then I choose search, and you see how it came up just with the SO entries here. So that's how easy it is, and you can run a report on that and also a graph on that. So it's a great way for you to track things, and just use your description field to your advantage, and you'll be able to have all kinds of reports, and there's hundreds of combinations of reports you can run if you use these things properly. So anyway, that's really all there is to it, and like I said, there's other video in the FAQ page, and thanks for tuning in today.